Honestly, after the mediocre camera improvements in the iPhone 16 Pro Max compared to the 15 Pro Max, now all of my hopes are for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which has a new 4x camera with 50% bigger sensor and 48 megapixel, as well as the 18 megapixel selfie camera, which has a square sensor, and I think this is the revolution, and I'm not even talking about the ProRes RAW capabilities. So let's take a look. All the iPhone 16 Pro Max pictures will be on the left side and the 17 Pro Max on the right side. Now we're in the wide selfie camera mode and we have the 12 megapixel on the left and 18 megapixel on the right. And as you can tell guys, straight away, even without pixel peeping, I can tell that the 17 Pro Max selfies look much better. When we zoom into 300% scale, you can definitely tell that we have better dynamic range and also better detail on the 17 Pro Max. Here is the normal selfie mode and the horizontal selfie on the 17 Pro Max, and still we have better image quality on the 17 Pro Max. And with 300% scale, we can tell that it has more detail and less post-processing. And then we have the vertical mode on the 17 Pro Max, and the camera didn't even change its orientation, which is very handy. And now I had to zoom into 300% scale on the left and 450% scale on the right, but still I can tell that the image quality is better on the 17 Pro Max. Right now guys, we're recording with the selfie cameras. On the 17 Pro Max we have the new selfie camera, and right now I'm in horizontal mode. You can also hear the microphone quality compared to the 16 Pro Max. So yeah, here's the quality difference. I cannot frame myself properly, but still you can see the result. And guys, here it is with the backlighting. So we have better coatings probably on the new lens. So how do you like the quality? We're right now in the vertical mode. So what do you think? And right now guys, we're recording horizontally, but I'm still holding the phone vertically, as you can tell from the shadow right here. So this is what you get. So you don't have to actually hold the phone horizontally to record yourself in a horizontal position, which is nice. And right now guys, I'm recording in Apple log. So you have the basic front selfie camera mode on the 17 Pro. We also get the full sensor, but it has some caveats. I'll explain it in a minute. Here is the wind test as well. And we get the regular mode on the 16 Pro Max. How do you like the quality in Apple log? By the way, the 17 Pro Max is recording in Apple log 2 compared to Apple log 1 in the 16 Pro Max. Right now guys, you can see the full sensor with the selfie camera recorded in Apple log, but in this mode you're only limited to 30 frames per second and the stabilization doesn't work whatsoever. And also guys, I'd like to mention that I didn't experience any display dimming with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, no matter the weather was pretty hot and we had direct sunlight, and also the screen has better coating, we have less reflections and bigger brightness at sunlight, up to 3000 nits, and in the real world I did see the difference. The 1x camera on those two smartphones is exactly the same, and it has the 24 megapixel mode in the standard photos and the 48 megapixel mode when you do choose this one. And when we zoom into 300% scale, we do see slightly different post-processing. We have more sharpening on the right image, but still guys, the 1x camera sensor is basically identical in those two smartphones. And the same goes for the ultra-wide camera, they are also identical. And unfortunately guys, we don't have any better sensor reflection performance on the 17 Pro Max, and as you can tell, on the ultra wide angle lens we still get the lens reflections, on the 1x we still get the lens reflections, and they are super irritating, and I really wish that Apple fixed them once. Maybe they'll change the coatings or something like this. And even on the new 4x camera versus the 5x, we still get those irritating reflections. I would say maybe it's like 10 to 15% better on the 4x camera, but still it is an issue. And here is one of the most interesting comparison. We have the 5x 12 megapixels on the left and 4x 24 megapixels on the right. And without pixel peeping, it's hard to tell which camera is better. And when we zoom into 300% scale and 350% scale respectively, we do see slightly better resolution and detail on the 17 Pro Max. Now let's compare the 12 megapixel versus 48 megapixels, and even without pixel peeping, I do see better resolution and detail on the 48 megapixel picture. And when we zoom in, we definitely see a lot more detail and resolution from the 17 Pro Max. And also in the photo app, we have the 25x zoom on the 16 Pro Max versus 40x zoom on the 17 Pro Max. And as you can tell, the 17 Pro Max has a lot more detail. We also have a 2x digital crop from 4x to 8x and 12 megapixel photos on the 17 Pro Max. And here is the real world example, and when we match the size of those two helicopters, you can definitely tell that we have more detail and resolution on the 17 Pro Max. Now we're taking a look at the portrait mode. We have 5x and 12 megapixels on the 16 Pro Max and 4x 24 megapixels portrait mode on the 17 Pro Max, and the aperture is set to f2.8. And without pixel peeping and zooming in, I can tell that the image on the left is actually more preferable, at least in my opinion. And when we zoom in, I can definitely say that the cutout is even better on the 16 Pro Max. And the 17 Pro Max didn't get the cutout really well, especially near my right ear. Then we have one more portrait in the backlight, and as you can tell, we have much better contrast with the 17 Pro Max. And when we zoom in, I actually do prefer the image on the left because I have more detail in my face, and it seems like the 17 Pro Max is really aggressively trying to soften out my skin and to make it look better. In my opinion, the portrait mode didn't do as well as I thought it would be, so what do you think? Drop a comment down below. And now let's compare videos. Here is the stock camera app, 5x 4K versus 4x 4K, and they both look pretty much nice. And then when we pixel peep, we do see better resolution on the 17 Pro Max. You can look at this chimney and see more details in it. And now you can also zoom in not to 15x but to 24x, and the resolution is actually fine. And now let's take a look at the Apple log. We have Apple log H.265 on the left, Apple log 1, and Apple log 2 H.265 on the right, both in 4K. And as you can tell, guys, the image quality is more or less on par. I would even say that I would prefer the image on the left due to actually physically bigger focal length. And here you can see the bokeh difference, and once again, because of the bigger focal length, we still get a bit more bokeh and background separation, even though we have bigger sensor on the 17 Pro Max. Here is the 8x digital crop on both cameras, and we do have 8x as a camera option in Blackmagic Camera app. And here is the maximum digital crop. Also, guys, in terms of the minimum focus and distance, those two lenses are actually identical, or those two cameras, let me say. But if you use the 8x camera, you have much better magnification ratio, but still, guys, it is only for good lighting conditions. In lower lighting conditions, you'd better use another lens like the 1x. And since we're talking about the 1x lens, it has exactly the same minimum focus and distance on the 16 Pro Max and the 17 Pro Max. And here we have the ProRes RAW converted to Apple log 2 and then to Rec 709, and I'll be making a huge video about ProRes RAW with the tutorial of how to shoot it, how to color grade it, and a lot of comparisons, including stock camera versus ProRes RAW, Apple log in H.265, and ProRes versus the ProRes RAW. So stay tuned and subscribe. And now let's take a look at the low light shots, selfie camera, 12 megapixels versus 18 megapixels. And I would say that the 17 Pro Max has more aggressive noise reduction, but still I would pick this selfie to keep in my photos. And here is the vertical mode, so basically we do have identical image quality with the vertical and horizontal because it's just a crop. And here is the video in the stock camera app, 4K with the selfie camera, and as you can see, guys, the image quality is pretty poor on both, so I would say that the 1x camera would be a much better choice. But still, I would say that the 17 Pro Max selfie camera is slightly better in low light than the 16 Pro Max is. And now we're using Apple log through Blackmagic Camera app at 1600 ISO, by the way, and both images look pretty bad, but still we have better performance in terms of noise with the 17 Pro Max. The 1x camera with the stock camera app looks basically identical, and it's the best camera to use in lower lighting situations. And here is the comparison of Apple log in all cameras. Here we have the 0.5x camera at 1600 ISO, pretty poor results and slightly different color because we're using Apple log 1 versus Apple log 2. Here's the 1x camera, more or less comparable results. Maybe the 17 Pro Max is slightly better because of the Apple log 2. And here is the 5x versus 4x new camera, and here we can clearly see that the 4x, because of the bigger sensor, is much better in terms of detail and noise. Here is one more example of the 5x versus 4x, and here you can see much more detail in the shot and less noise, so I would say that the 4x camera is actually more preferable for video than the 5x on the 16 Pro Max. And here's the 8x digital crop on both cameras at 1600 ISO. Pretty tough conditions for any camera, guys, and still we see better results from the 17 Pro Max. I also did take a portrait photo with the 4x and 5x, 24 megapixels and 12 megapixels, but the image quality is pretty poor, and as you can tell, we have a lot of digital noise reduction, and even more so on the 17 Pro Max. I wouldn't use the portrait mode at night, to be honest. And here's one more comparison of the 5x 12 megapixel versus 4x 24 megapixels, and when we zoom in, you can definitely see that the 4x has much more detail and less noise reduction. To conclude, guys, I don't think that the owners of the 16 Pro Max or even the 15 Pro Max should upgrade to the 17 Pro Max, only if you are a selfie maniac, let me say. But the owners of the 14 Pro Max and older smartphones would appreciate the 17 Pro Max's new features and also the Apple log recording, which is crazy good, and it gets rid of the awful noise reduction and over sharpening of the image, which is always there in the stock camera app. And also guys, don't forget that the 16 Pro Max and especially the 15 Pro Max is now on sale and you can purchase them with a really nice discount. That is why right here I have a full video and photo comparison of the 15 Pro Max and the 16 Pro Max. So I'll see you in that video guys. And if you did enjoy this one, smash the like and subscribe buttons. See you very soon guys. Take care. Bye.